With us today is Richard Watts, a skilled attorney who represents some of America's most successful families. He has firsthand insight into the advantages and downfalls of affluence and has channeled that knowledge into his writings, which are called the Wisdom Series, and they're great, by the way. Would you please welcome with me Rich Watts? So, hey, Rich, it's so good to have you in the house today. And what you may not know, Rich has been a dear friend of our family. He and my dad are like best friends. They go surfing together. And your dad and my grandpa Schuller were best friends.
They were. That goes back to 1963 when we came from Michigan and we pulled up at a drive-in theater. We put the speaker on the car. We were all children. And my dad said, please, everybody, be quiet back there. I want to listen to this. And we never stopped.
And of course, he was a terrific guy, and he's actually buried at the Crystal Cathedral.
He was the first person. My mother and father were the first person buried in the Memorial Gardens. Yes.
Wow.
It means a lot to us.
Yeah, and then you have three sons who I've gotten to know, and they're just all terrific guys doing amazing things for God. So you're an incredible dad, incredible attorney. You represent some of the world's wealthiest, most affluent families in different areas. And you've learned a lot through that process. With your own children, of course, you know, seeing other families, you've been able to write about and pass on some of that wisdom, and that's why we're talking about today, Entitlemania.
Yes, the first book, Fables of Fortune, was a book about the counterintuitive nature of the difficulty of wealth, and that all of us want it, but it's very difficult once you have it, believe it or not.
Yeah.
This became the issue of the entitlement of this generation, this me generation that we've raised, and just the attitude of so many parents that they don't want to have their kids struggle.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for them to sit back and allow life to take its effect on their children.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, there are a lot of people my generation or younger. I'm the first year of millennial. I was born in 1981, and this millennial word gets thrown around a lot. And a lot of young people today in general do have a bit of that entitlement. You know, a little sprinkle of narcissism from time to time. And you're addressing that because it seems to, it's something that's really not healthy.
Yeah, it's a state of mind where kids believe that they should have anything they want, but they don't need to make an effort to get it. And the bad news is it really is the parents' fault. Mm-hmm. It's our fault. It's my generation's fault. But the good news is you can fix it. And Entitlemania talks about how to fix that.
That's great. How do you fix it?
Well, there's a number of things. First of all, you begin to realize that you're not allowing your child to struggle at any age. The next thing is you begin to realize that at some point you need to make a decision that being your child's best friend or being your child's friend is not a great idea, that you need to have the conversation with your child where you say, I choose to be your parent. There's a lot of friends you can have out there, but there's only one or two parents that you can have, and I'm going to do that difficult work with you, and in the end, it's going to be difficult for you and hard, but it will make you a better person.
Well, and what you say too, I find that parents who do the job of kind of being a parent end up being better friends with their kids when they're adults. It seems like that.
There's no question, Bobby, that at some point when children recognize, the difficulty is it's hard for them to recognize what you're doing when you're doing it. A parent has superior knowledge. Mm-hmm. And as a friend, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It tends to bleed over into making them live the failures of your life over again. Yeah. But as a parent, it means you take the failures as a parent and you help them understand that they're going to have their own failures, not yours.
Looking at your book, it was so helpful to think in terms of the struggle as the thing that makes children good. You know, and because like you modeled this in your life, I think it's amazing. With your three sons, you took them all in these rites of passage. How old were they, like 14 or 15?
12 and 13.
Okay, 12 and 13. And you took them on these amazing hunting trips. Like, didn't you go to Alaska with Russell and
Africa, and New Zealand. Those are the three places, yeah.
I would choose New Zealand because of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even like you and Russell got in a pickle in some snow or something, right? Wasn't there?
Yeah, there were times with each of the sons where that was a physical thing.
Yeah.
But it really was about them beginning to become reliant. Just an example. It was just one example of becoming reliant. If their mother had been there at the time, she would have killed me. I wouldn't have made it back. But it really was about recognizing that as an eagle of the family, you've got to, as a parent, push the eaglet out of the nest. And you really do have to, in a sense, treat your kids like they're guests in your home.
Yeah.
which was said to me on my wedding day by the pastor that married us. He told me, treat your children as kids, as guests in your home, and they'll come back to you. And you might know who that is that told me that.
My grandpa.
Your grandfather, Robert Schuller. Yes, he's the one.
You know,
that
it's hard as a parent myself with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. I feel like society trains us to be like, if you don't, I mean, they don't say this, but essentially the unsaid thing is that if you don't helicopter your children, you're putting them at danger and you're a bad parent. So I feel like society is teaching, like us as a generation, to always protect your children from everything. Mm-hmm. But you're saying, no, that's not good.
No, and it's not just about not protecting your kid, but it's allowing them to feel the consequences of what they do. Because your life experience was very different from their life experience, and they need to find their own life experience.
Reading Entitlemania really helps, I think, give young parents especially the sort of freedom to be like, no, it's okay to make rules and to challenge my children.
Yes, and it gives you the tools of recognizing where you as the parent are making the mistake. And Entitlemania then says what to do and not to do, but it really is about the fixing. It's really about biting down on a leather strap as a parent and saying, this is going to hurt me for doing it, and it's going to hurt them, but in a good way.
Yeah. Is there something you can say to parents who maybe already kind of did that with their kids? Maybe they have teenagers or even adult children. Is there advice you can give someone in that position?
Even when the kids are 30, 40, and 50, when you look at it, if you read Entitlemania, you'll see the signs of what you're still doing. So you think that they're beyond saving.
Yeah.
And you're still doing, believe it or not, the very things that you were doing when they were 10 and 15.
Interesting.
And it really does say, here's how you stop that. And here's how you turn that around. And believe me, the most remarkable thing is even kids at 50 or 60 that have had that happen, I'm talking kids at 50 or 60, have come to me afterward and said, I'm getting my life back.
Yeah, because they're kind of looking at their parents from a position of honoring your parents instead of being your parents' buddy or something.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Rich, it's been so great to have you here today and so helpful to have a tool like this in your tool bag. So thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
And
good to be here.
Rich, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
We love you. We're so grateful for you.